accidentally sent a text to her husband that was meant for Mark, her coworker. About 2 weeks ago, I was on my way out to a work outing with my coworkers when my husband told me he wanted to talk to me. He said he'd met someone new who wanted to leave me. We have been together for 15 years and married for over 10 years. We have 2 children together. The feelings I had were a mixture of relief and immense pain, but mostly relief. We haven't been happy for at least 3 years, and aside from SX and the children, we have nothing in common anymore. We live 2 completely different and separate lives, but under the same roof. I felt relief that one of us was courageous enough to pull the plug. I can't explain why I felt the pain though. He talked about how we were going to do this, the children, the house, etc. He said that he had found 1 bedroom, and that he was moving out until everything was settled. I could keep the house, etc. But when he was finished, I was about an hour late for the outing. I ordered an Uber and chose to wait for it outside. I got a text from one of my coworkers, Mark, saying that I was so late that it wasn't even fashionable anymore. I took my phone to answer him, but I guess I got a text from my husband at the same time, so I texted him this in my language. "Oh Mark, you don't know the half of it. My husband was dumping me, so that took a minute. I guess I'm free now," and a laughing emoji. "Tell me more when I see you. I'm on my way." Since the beginning of the year, many of my coworkers have been splitting and getting divorced. We were saying that our department was being cursed until Mark, the most recent one to separate still going through divorce, jokingly said it wasn't a curse, it was freedom. I was referring to that, but my husband, who got the text instead of Mark, was angry about how indifferent I was to start joking 5 minutes after I was told my 15-year relationship was over. I explained the curse to him. He didn't care to listen. Now he is refusing to move out and has gone back on the divorce. He doesn't speak to me and refuses to answer when I ask when he was moving out. In one of the last conversations we had, he told me that he was planning on being generous with me during the divorce, but now he's going to take me for everything I've got and held dear. I told him that he couldn't because freedom is what I held dear. He slapped me hard across the face. This is the first time he has ever done this. Later, I heard him crying in the bathroom. I'm 42, my husband is 45, and our children are 12 and 11 boys. Should I apologize about that text? It wasn't meant for him, but still. Why does he care when he's already moving on? Edit. I need to clarify 2 things. 1. Yes, my husband has someone new. He wasn't lying about it. He is 25-26 years old and works with. I don't know if he is sleeping with her or just fell in love with her, and therefore asked for divorce before acting on his feelings. I believe it's the latter. He has rented an apartment and was going to move out after telling me. He hasn't yet. I can't move out because I want to be with my children. 2. No, I'm not having an affair with Mark. It happened that he was the one texting me when I ran late to the work outing. But I've been talking to him about what happened, and he feels somewhat guilty. We're a bit closer now, but I'm not a cheater, and even if something happens between Mark and me, I'm waiting until divorce, or at least the separation, is public if the divorce drags out for years like my husband now seems to want. I have self-respect, and I have my boys to think about, so I would never cheat, neither physically nor emotionally. I have found a new apartment for me and my children. Moving in September. Filing for divorce after. Update on my situation. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to inform you that I've found an apartment that's going to be available in September. I'm really relieved because now I don't have to feel like I'm trapped with an ex who doesn't know what he wants. I'm filing for divorce when I've moved out with my children. And hopefully, he's going to be civil. Unfortunately, I had to be the one telling my children we're separating because he refused to share the news with me. My heart is broken, and I've been crying ever since. The look in their eyes of being let down makes me regret getting to this stage in our relationship without trying to fix it. My youngest asked me if he could do something to fix it and maybe be a better son. God, I hope they forgive us for breaking up their home. My husband is acting very weird. He's apologized profusely for hurting me, and he is trying to initiate intimacy with me, and I find it weird and so wrong. He also told me his new girl wants children, and he did a vasectomy after our children, so I don't know how he's going to do it. He also talked about having her move into our home if I left. I told him that he needed to think about our sons. I'm not allowing him to introduce a new person into their life so quickly, and without it being a serious relationship. He asked me why I was jealous, and I told him I wasn't. I just don't want my children to experience instability, so if he's going to let her move in, the children are staying with me until their relationship is serious. He's already having problems with this new girl before they even moved in together, and he wanted her in my son's life. He said again that I was jealous, so I dropped it. Finally, he asked me where we went wrong. I couldn't answer him at first, But then I told him we were probably never right. You hit your wife. Maybe it took you 15 years to show your real self. But you did it in the end. And I would never have loved a man who hit his wife. So we were never right. He cried. Second story. I'm gay, and my wife doesn't know. My wife and I have been together for 9 years and married for 7. But I know that I'm gay. I've never been attracted to another woman other than her. But I've been attracted to lots of men. I've never been in a sexual relationship with a man. But if I wasn't with my wife, I know I would be. My preferences when I'm by myself have only ever been over men. But it's strange, my wife is my soulmate in the most absolute sense. It doesn't matter that she's a woman. I'm so in love with her mind, her heart, and her as a human being that she could literally be in any body, and I would love and worship her. Even being with her sexually is incredible because it's her. I know this makes no sense, and that's why I can't tell her. She would think she wasn't enough because she wasn't a man. But she's the other half of my soul, and I could never hurt her or be without her. I think every inch of her body is beautiful, and she lights me up like no other human ever could. She completes me, and I know I won't need to be with anyone else, but I know no one will believe that. Is it possible to be gay, except for one woman? If so, that's who I am. Edit. I realize now that I'm probably on the bisexual spectrum somewhere instead, and I'm content with that. I don't really need a label. Oh, and to those calling me a pervert, a degenerate, a fetishist, etc. for being attracted to men, I suggest you try replacing the hate in your heart with love. It's worked out very well for me. Relevant comments. I view sexuality as a spectrum. You might be bi in that you're 99% gay and 1% straight, and your wife ignited the 1%. As long as you're happy with your wife, and she is with you, that's what matters. OP's response. Hijacking this top comment to say thank you to everyone who has shared their own personal experiences. It's good to know that this is seemingly more common than I thought. It makes me think I need to focus less on labels and more on how fortunate I am to have my wife and her love. Second post. Is there an identity for who I am? I secretly identify as a gay man, or at least that's what I have thought up until now. But I have a wife. We've been together for 9 years. I've never been attracted to another woman other than her, but I've been attracted to lots of men. I've never been with a man, but if I wasn't with my wife, I know I would be. My preferences when I'm by myself are men. But with my wife, it's always been different. It's never mattered that she's a woman because I love her mind and her heart so much. She is my soulmate. And so I find her body attractive and beautiful. And we've always had a very fulfilling sexual relationship. But I feel like this makes no sense. And if I tell her that I'm 99% sure I'm gay, then she'll think I want to leave her or cheat on her. But I don't whatsoever. I only want her. She is my absolute world, and I am so in love with her and so attracted to her. Is there a sexuality that is like gay but only one woman? Or like bi, but specifically where the gender doesn't matter in one instance? Update. TLDR, I told her. So after I posted here last week, I did a lot of research, and I'm fairly certain I'm bisexual with a strong physical preference for men, but demisexual when it comes to women. I've never had deep feelings for anyone except my wife, male or female. But when I met her and started to develop those feelings, the physical attraction strongly followed. I obviously don't plan on ever finding out if it would be the same with other women. Nor do I plan on being with men, despite what some people say. Either way, these labels don't really matter in themselves, because I won't be exploring them. But I did decide I wanted to tell my wife, and they helped me articulate them. So I sort of blurted it all out to her over the weekend. I told her I'm probably bisexual or demisexual, and initially wasn't sure whether to tell her. She's the only woman I've ever been sexually attracted to, but I did in the end. I told her my love for her wasn't defined by her gender, but that she's my soulmate, and I'm truly in love with her heart, her mind, and her body. Those of you who said she probably knew more than I thought were right. She was sort of surprised, but not entirely. She said she assumed I wasn't straight because she had a vibe, not sure what that means. And she'd noticed I'd never talked about how other women were attractive. I think she was surprised that my preference, other than hers, skews so significantly towards men. But she knows I don't want to pursue it, so she said it doesn't matter. She also told me she thinks she's on the bisexual spectrum somewhere herself, though she has no plans to explore it. But it's such a relief to have it all out in the open with her. I told her I'd be more than happy to go to therapy with her if she wants help processing, and she said that's not necessary right now, but it's good to know it's an option in the future. Thank you to everyone who left kind and critical, but constructive messages, and no thank you to the homophobes. It looks like everything will be okay. Thank you for watching the video.